Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. So today I want to go over live auctioneers. I don't know if many people online have heard about this. I haven't really seen it on YouTube yet, or really even TikTok, which maybe I'm just not seeing it, but I'm pretty, I don't know if you can tell, I'm pretty deeply invested. I get a lot of interior design and like furniture stuff. I see things about Facebook Marketplace. I see things about, estate sales, but I'm not seeing a whole lot about auctions, which is how I got a ton of the furniture in my apartment for really cheap. I think it's just like a thing people associate with old people, because I always think of like old people going to auctions and like sitting in the in-person auctions and raising the paddle. That's not really what this is. I'm not sure if it was because of COVID, or if they were doing it before, but a ton of auction houses, like, you don't have to go in person and sit anymore. There's a lot of online auction houses, and so Live Auctioneers is kind of the one I look at. It hosts for a ton of different auctioneers, and so, or auction houses, and so it's really easy to find cheap furniture since you're bidding. If you just happen to get in on an item and there's no one else in the auction that wants it, you can get it for so cheap. I got this desk, this big, heavy, solid wood, in great shape, has all its hardware, the drawers work great. I got this desk for $90. I got my rug in here for $90. I got my brother a huge, hand woven, like, beautiful Turkish rug for, I think it was like $60. Depending on, like, I've gotten a ton of art, do I have any art in this back wall? I don't actually think I have any art in this back wall from it, but I've gotten other art for like $1 or like $5. It's really crazy cheap, and that's only if you're in an auction where somebody doesn't want the same thing you want. If you're not bidding against anybody, it can be really cheap. So I kind of want to show you guys my tips and tricks, the best way to get deals, and kind of how to keep yourself on budget. So let's get right into it. Okay, so here I am. You Google Live Auctioneers. You can click the sponsored one or the not sponsored one. You can see I've clicked it before. They've got the latest from Live Auctioneers, a few other searches. Anyway, it doesn't matter. You go in to Live Auctioneers, and you can see I'm logged in, but it's really key that you make an account, because then you can set up to get alerts about different auctions. They also have an app, which I would highly recommend downloading, which I'll get to why in a second. So you make an account. It's really easy. It's just I think it's your email address and, oh gosh, it's your email address and some other information. Let me see. I will log out. We'll see what join. Yeah, you put your email address in. It's really that easy. There are some that will log in. There are some that will ask you, certain auctions want you to have a credit card on file, so that if you bid on an item and you don't pay for it, or you just like don't message the seller, they will like extract that money. But that's not the actual card. Like, that's not, you won't be charged anything on that if you are kind of following along and doing what the auction house says, and you're like actually paying for your items. Anyway, so the best way, you can look at, like, I've got a For You. We'll see right here. You can see I don't have any saved searches on here. You can save searches, but I do have some auctioneers saved. These are some that I really like, that are kind of around my parents' place or around me. You see some of them have upcoming auctions, some of them don't. And the way I found these auction houses was, let's see, right up at the top, auctions near me. You put in your zip code. So I'm in Hoboken. The zip code is 07030. You search it. I also like to pick local pickup. I do not know why it's not coming up. Yeah, see, I'm not sure. Oh, keyword. Yeah, search by location. Sorry, that was my fault. So if it's, say, 07030, looking here, and I zoom out, and as I zoom out, it'll show me more. So you can see there aren't any in Hoboken, but there are quite a few auction houses in New York City. I will say, if you're living in a city and you have a car, look at auction houses farther away from the cities you're in, because there will inevitably be cheaper. Like the New York City auction houses get really expensive. Because there's a lot of people in New York City, and you can get some pretty nice antiques. I'm not really into antiquing. I don't really get super excited about, oh, this old furniture, was special for this reason. I kind of like, if I'm drawn to something, I'm drawn to it, and if I'm not, I'm not. And it doesn't really matter whether it was an antique or who owned it before, for me personally. But you can kind of pay attention to that. Those things will come up. So if I keep zooming out, let's say I want to look at this auction. And this isn't just auction houses, these are auctions near you. So there might be some auction houses like closer to me that aren't having any auctions right now. So keep that in mind. You want to check back every so often. So let's look in. So this is March 8th, 2023, Estate Treasures. So you can register for this auction. I'm not going to click on that just because it will show my address. But if you haven't put some of the information in, they'll ask you to put some of your information in. Different auctioneers and like auction houses will ask for different amounts of information. And you can also see where the starting price. This is an expensive auction house for me. This is not somewhere that I would really go. I don't want to be spending, I don't need Tiffany sterling silver shell and thread flatware. A lot of this is really expensive. And if you have that budget, good for you. I do not. I do not need this stuff. So I think if you were to come on here and you saw this, you'd be like, oh my God, things are so expensive. So this is a for-profit auction house. And now what you can do, because I know my different auctions. I'll go to my For You, and I know which ones all of mine are pretty reasonably priced. A lot of the privately owned auction houses, their items will start more expensive, but if nobody has bid on them and you're in the auction, they'll usually lower their asking bid. They won't let you put in any amount of money you want. Like there are specific bid numbers, and as it gets more expensive, there's a larger amount of money in between each bid. But if you wait it out and nobody else is wanting it, like they will lower the price. I have seen furniture go for very cheap, like a wingback chair for $5. It's kind of crazy. So that's, privately run, and, they're trying to make money off of it. The Benefit Shop Foundation, which I don't know if I should be telling you guys about this because it's just so wonderful. Let's go to the March 8th odds and ends auction. It is a non-profit, so they're not really making any money off it. All of the money they make goes into either paying for their storage facility and hosting capabilities, and that's it. All of the stuff is donated to them. They're not, buying any of it. Nobody's really making a profit off of it. So they start everything off at $1, no matter what it is. It starts off at $1. You can see there's quite a few $1 things in here that nobody bid on. And they do usually provide an estimate. I don't know how accurate those are. Like I said, I'm not too fussed about, antiques or how much something is supposed to cost. But they have a ton of stuff. Like, this is a costume jewelry set, a stainless steel flatware set. Let's see if I can find some art that I would like. Like some of these, if somebody already bid on this $1, but some of these gold frames, if they stayed $1 and you didn't even like the art in them, it would be worth it to get them if you could go pick it up. That is something else that you have to keep in mind. I like auction houses that do free local pickups. I don't actually have a car myself, but my mom will sometimes help me, or I've borrowed someone's car before to go pick it up. Or I've asked other people to pick things up for me, and that's really helpful. You can also pay to have things shipped. I'm not sure how expensive that is. I think it can start to get up there in price. So if you're buying small things, then maybe it's worth it to ship, and maybe it wouldn't be super expensive. Some auction houses will work with different shipping facilities. Nonprofit ones like this one, like the Benefit Shop, don't. They kind of, like, if you're going to ship something, you have to set it all up. I think the UPS and the USPS, like the U.S. Postal Service, I think they have a pretty good relationship with. If there's an auction house, they tend to have pretty good relationships with the shipping services nearby, and so they kind of understand, like, you're not having somebody who's never been to this place go in and like package it up. Like, they kind of know what they're doing, which is good, but it can definitely get expensive. So doing the free local pickup ones, especially if you have your own car, is so great. But yeah, there's a ton of great stuff on here, and you can just like things. That's something I will say. So I'll like this, and I'll like these books because I think they're cool. And I will register. And then you register for the auction, and then I can go to my items, and this is where the app comes in really, really handy. So if you have the app and you enable notifications, they will let you know 5 items ahead of time that your item is coming up, which can be so great because these auctions, I don't even know if you saw, but they are hundreds of items long. They last all day most days. And so if you're able to just quickly go on and bid on your phone, it's so much easier than sitting at your computer and watching and waiting. You just wait for that buzz, you go on, you bid, you're all set. Now, as far as getting carried away in the bidding, because I did this my first auction, it's kind of exciting. Like, like you want this item and there's somebody else bidding on it, and there's like time is running out, and then, somebody's like, it's the last call and do you want it? Like, you can end up bidding more money than you want to. I was lucky enough that I lost those bids, and so I didn't have to spend the money that I really didn't have to spend. So keep in mind setting a budget beforehand. I set a budget for any item I've decided on like a week beforehand, or like at least a day beforehand. You don't want to be right before because you're kind of amped up and excited. A week beforehand, I think, is a good rule of thumb. Like, okay, I do not want to spend more than, let's talk about my couch. My couch is beautiful. It's great. I was looking for a couch, like a Queen Anne, like Victorian style couch like that for a long time, over a year. And I saw multiple of them on auction sites, on the different auctions. But I had a budget because I knew I was going to reupholster it. And so it's like, that's expensive. Reupholstering is really expensive. So I can't be spending a ton of money on the couch itself. Ideally, I wouldn't have to reupholster it. If there was one that I wasn't going to have to reupholster, I would spend more on it. But for me, my budget was $200. I want this couch. I am not going over $200. And there were quite a few times where I was bidding just against one other person, and they wanted it, and it got up to $225, and I was like, no, hands up. I set myself a budget, $200. I had my smaller couch. I didn't really need another one at that time immediately. I wanted one, but I didn't need one. And so I put my hands up and I'm like, okay, that's done. You let them have it. And then a waiting game kind of paid off for me. I happened to be in an auction where nobody else wanted this couch. And I got it, or nobody else really wanted this couch. I think I bid with one person and it was at $90. But they stopped. They put their hands up. I don't know what their budget was. I think they may have just gotten it if they could get it for really cheap, which is definitely sometimes my perspective. So how much I'm willing to spend depends on obviously how much I want it, and I really wanted that couch, but $90, cheaper than I thought I was going to get it for. I was getting pretty hopeless. I was like, there's no way I can get this for under $200. But I did. And I won it, and I'm so happy with it. I love that couch. So that's just one example of set a budget for yourself. Some things I'm not willing to spend more than $1 on. Some pieces of art, I'm like, if this stays $1, I like the frame, and I'll buy it. But if it goes up to even $5, I'm done. Like, that's just set your budget and stick to it and decide how much you want to spend. With that, keep in mind that there is a 20% buyer's fee. Now, I kind of got thrown off by this when I went and bought something the first time. I was like, this is a lot more expensive than I thought it was going to be. It's usually not too much. Like I said, it's usually a 20% buyer's fee. So keep that in mind if you're spending a ton of money. Like for my couch, if I had spent $200 on it, that would have been $40. And I was kind of okay because in my head I had budgeted, when I was originally thinking about it, for $250. So keep that 20% buyer's fee in mind while you're making your budget for each item. Just a general rule of thumb. There is also usually a small tax on it, but they're really not too much. I wouldn't worry as much about the tax. Make sure you check that. The auctions, like, they will say it. Like, let's see. Let's look at this art. You can also, like, watch an item. So you, like I said, I'm liking it, so technically I'm watching it. Buyer's premium. This one's 29%. So it depends. I usually see 20%. This is a bit higher. But if I'm buying something for $1, I don't mind paying like the 29% buyer's premium. So keep that in mind while you're budgeting. Make sure you check what the buyer's premium is on an item as you're making that budget. But otherwise, that's kind of what I would say on creating a budget and really, really keeping yourself to it. You have to, it's like willpower, you have to keep yourself to it. It gets really exciting in auctions and you can be like willing to spend more than you want to. You can also place a bid beforehand. So this is your starting bid. And a lot of the times, depending on the type of auction, I would say don't bid beforehand. If you're going to be able to be there live, or like at least semi-live, like you'll have it on your phone and you'll have access to your phone and be able to go on there, I would say don't make a bid beforehand, because that means that starting price will not go down. And so you're kind of stuck at that limit as the cheapest thing. And if you're fine with that and you can't be there, and you're just like, this is all I want to pay, I'll do it. Good for you, that's fine. A lot of times, like I said, if nobody else is bidding on an item, they will lower the starting bid if nobody has bid on it beforehand. So keep that in mind. Look at like what the starting bid is. Like sometimes I'll save items that they're listing at $100 as the price, because I'm like, I'm not sure. Like if I wouldn't pay $100 for this, but if they lower the price, I would. And so you kind of just pay attention to it in like the few days leading up to the auction. If people have like already started the bidding and have gone above that price that you wanted to pay, you can unlike it, you can unsave it, it's out of your hair. But every so often there'll be something that nobody else is really interested in, and they'll lower the price and you can get it for really cheap, when otherwise you would have, bid beforehand and started the bidding off already. So what you can do here is set your maximum bid. So you will still bid, the starting bid will still be $1. They still go up by kind of regular increments, but if you want to do anonymous, like absentee bidding, I can say I'm willing to spend $10 on this, and then you place the bid. So that's your maximum bid. And so if somebody outbids you, if somebody outbids your $1 and they offer to pay $2, your automatic absentee bid will then bid $3, and back and forth. And if they go above that 10, your absentee bid will, it won't keep trying to put more money into it. So that can be a way, if you're fine with the starting price and you want to set yourself to a budget, set that absentee bid. Or if you're not going to be able to have access to your phone and you still want to bid on some of these items, again, set that maximum bid. You will not go over that. It doesn't go over it, and you don't have to sit in the auction. So there's less likelihood of you kind of getting caught up in the excitement. I do also want to do a video kind of going to this architectural salvage shopping, estate sale shopping, and thrifting, and like kind of how I find art and stuff there. It is a little bit different, so I will be making a video on that later if you guys are interested. But for now, I thought I really should share this with you, because I don't feel like people are talking about it enough. You can get stuff for so cheap. I lucked into finding it just because my mom knew somebody who ran an auction house, and she knew as I was moving into my old apartment, she was like, well, have you looked down here for furniture? And I was like, I didn't even know what that was. I didn't even know that existed. And so it can be really amazing. And a lot of times if you start, you're going to sit the same auction house, you kind of get to know the people. If you live close enough, they'll let you come in and see stuff beforehand, and when you pick up stuff for an auction, you'll usually be able to see stuff for the next auction. But you can definitely go, set an appointment and go and see stuff in person if you're unsure of it. But I really, really highly recommend at least looking into it. It might not be right for you. There might not be any auction houses in your area that are quite carry the right stuff. but keeping an eye out, like making sure you've got those email alerts so that you're finding out when new auctions are being posted, downloading the app and enabling notifications, all of it is just great. Great, 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 great. So, with all of that, I will see you guys next week.